the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. A breathtaking journey that takes you back in time on a historic train for a thrilling 45-mile ride through the scenic wonder that is the San Juan Mountains of southwest Colorado, from Durango to Silverton. It's the same view you would have seen back in the Old West, when this train first rolled down the tracks in 1882. But if you think it's an adventure to ride this train, which it surely is, imagine what it was like to build this railroad in the late 1800s by hand.
This is a national engineering landmark today. Men were able to chisel out a railroad with hand tools in the 1800s. I mean, that's amazing.
The roadbed for the 2-mile High Line, one of the most amazing stretches of this railroad, was blasted out of a granite mountainside to create a shelf to lay the tracks about 200 feet high above the Animas River.
It was basically a handheld drill bit.
Men were lowered down from the cliff above to drill holes in the rock with hand tools.
And you hit that rod with a hammer, and every time you hit it, you turned it. And it would drill a hole into whatever stone you were drilling into, amazingly. And then you would pack that with black powder.
A team of men were spread along the cliff to drill those holes, then synchronized to light the fuse to all that dynamite before being hoisted back to the top and out of harm's way.
And I always think of the guy that's trying to light the match and the wind keeps blowing it out, you know, and it's like, please, and everybody else's fuse is already going but his.
Those daring ancestors left an incredible legacy and an amazing stretch of train track that people from all over the country and around the world come to experience today. More than 200,000 people ride the Durango and Silverton Railroad every year, and this is what it takes to keep those trains running.
Some very skilled guys in here, and they never get caught up.
You'll find that same can-do spirit today in the Roundhouse and Machine Shop at the Durango and Silverton, where a crack team of expert mechanics keep those trains running. The exact same coal-fired steam engines and passenger cars that ran here back in the day.
This is a brake rigging, and it goes to it's a linkage for the brakes.
Will White's been working on steam engines since his days on a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, where he maintained the steam-powered catapults that launched fighter jets off the flight deck. The train technology he maintains today is a bit older, but still works very well.
Without these pieces on here, you won't have no brakes.
However, unlike your local auto mechanic, every part that needs to be replaced on the engine has to be made right here in the machine shop.
What are you making there?
It'd be a crank pin for the side rods.
We can't go to AutoZone and get a mechanical lubricator for a 1923 Elko. It just doesn't happen.
And when the tires on a railroad wheel wear out, you can't go down to Firestone to get new ones.
These wheels came out of Locomotive 480, and they've got brand new tires on them. And yes, you have to put new tires on locomotives. They wear out.
The Durango and Silverton runs 7 locomotives, engines that get their exercise.
These are in their 90s, and they have their own personalities. And when they are under steam, they really do seem like they're alive. I know that sounds a little bit strange on my part, but really they do. We work these engines as hard as they were when they were brand new. They're not babied, and they run every day. When they're in service and they're called to go out and pull heavy trains at maximum tonnage out of this yard daily to go to Silverton, it's amazing. And they just do it day after day after day.
Every 10 years, by federal law, every engine has to be completely rebuilt.
So we have to take them completely apart, and we have to inspect everything. We replace the flues, the superheaters, tube sheets.
And the parts, like these side rods that power the wheels, are a bit pricey.
One of these is like 30 grand.
It's challenging work every day, and the crew is never caught up. But imagine the incredible obstacles this team faced when a devastating fire destroyed the Roundhouse on February 10th, 1989, with only 2 walls left standing.
The engines were in here, they were taken apart, it was winter, we were in the middle of our maintenance season. And then you catch the building on fire, a 111-year-old building, and the roof burns off of it, and all that tar melts and covers everything.
All the engines were inside the Roundhouse for repair at the time, but there was never a thought of giving up.
After the fire, the boss was like, well, it's February and we're going to be running our first trains to Silverton first Saturday in May, and we have no engines, we don't have a building, we have nothing. We're done. So you guys better get busy.
But first, they had to replace their tools and equipment, all lost in the fire. Stuff they don't make anymore.
We went all over the country to find them. And so they're all kind of World War II vintage machines.
Somehow, working with no roof in the Colorado winter weather at 6,500 feet.
And I tell people that the good Lord is a rail fan, because if we had had our normal snow, we wouldn't have made it.
The crew had 2 engines ready to roll in time for opening day.
The fire department was here, there were bands playing, there were jets flying over, huge celebration. And for us employees who had worked tirelessly day after day after day in the winter, we just sat there and had tears running down our faces, and we were just so happy that we still had jobs and that this train was still running.
And these trains have been rolling ever since, a living symbol of that can-do spirit that built America, delighting hundreds of thousands of passengers every year. We step on board and back in time for a thrilling train ride through some of the most spectacular country of the American West.
If you would like to time travel, if you like the Old West, come get on our train and experience the Old West the way it was 130 years ago. Just come down and do it.